Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe. Hello, everyone. My name is Ruben Anor, and I'm the Strategy and Quality Director of Renfe. Thanks for attending this interesting panel entitled "The Travel Industry is Back in the Game," in which you will find top panelists that will provide a comprehensive overview of the sector. As you have noticed, I mean, the title of this roundtable is not a question but a statement. And I think that we are all in the sector glad about this recovery and somehow optimistic about the future. But how will the sector evolve and what are we going to see in the coming years? That's what they are going to tell us. In 2019, according to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the sector contributed 10.3% of global GDP, descending to 5.3% in 2020 and rising again in 2021. But travel and tourism is the world's largest industry with a high impact on employment rates and also in the development of the countries and regions. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you the panelists that are here today. First of all, I'm not in this order, but sorry, Nicholas. Chiara Quaglia is the Senior Vice President, Market Development Travel at MasterCard. She has been working in the travel and payments industry over 20 years. Welcome aboard, Chiara. Nicholas from Amadeus since October 2020 is the head of Destination Experience Distribution Platform at Amadeus. Welcome. Marek Fodo, co-founder of Atrapalo.com, also founding partner of Founder Capital, and chairman of Cantox, multinational fintech company. And last but not least, Ignacio Tobar, our maiden colleague from Iberia. He's the Digital Transformation and Innovation Director at Iberia. Okay, so welcome aboard and thank you for coming. I want just first headline of each one of you, taking into consideration the different perspectives. Is the travel and tourism industry fully recovered from the COVID pandemic? And if not, if it's still not, what is your perspective? What is the forecast for the coming years? You can start, Chiara, please.
Okay. So definitely we can say that the travel is back, and I just give you some data, and then during the panel I will give you a little bit more. So what we are seeing, according to the MasterCard Economic Institute, is that if the booking trend will continue as it is now, we will have this year 1.5 billion more passengers flying over, I would say, last year, so 2021, but also very positive trend and increase over 2019 that I think 2019 for travel is the reference. So I think it's, so that we can say that travel is definitely back. And within this 1.5 billion, what we're seeing is that the main region, I would say, pushing for this trend is Europe, more or less with 550 million. Then it's Asia Pacific, that finally, after all the constraints, is back, and then US, Latin American, Caribbean, and Middle East and Africa. So, good.
So, using the rail reference, we are on the right track. We are on the right
good,
track.
Right track.
Nicholas,
yes,
your perspective.
We do sign obviously the signs of recovery in the travel industry at the global level. Now, obviously, the situation is still uncertain, and we need to make sure that we are still able to adapt to the new situation. So it's all about traveler centricity and a lot about breaking the silos in the industry as well to make sure that the industry remains able to face any event that would come.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Marek.
So there are two data points that I have. One is from Cantox. Cantox is doing currency management automation. And by the nature of travel companies, they do a lot of currency management. So we see data of volumes of foreign exchange that these companies move. And they, compared to 2019, the same clients generate substantially, or not substantially, but they generate more volume. So travel is back and with vengeance. Travel is really, really roaring back. The other thing that I see as an investor, I see a lot of new startups coming up, attacking different problems in travel from different angles. So startups usually do well when the travel vertical is booming, because when when travel is not doing well, like 2020, 2021, startups suffer too. So both these data points tell me that
Still, there were a lot of innovation during those years, no?
there was a lot of suffering and innovation, yes, yes. And so those who survived, they are in good shape, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Ignacio?
So my answer is pretty clear, is I don't know. This is my answer, because, you know, after 2021 having a positive summer, we were expecting like great Christmas, then Omicron came, we were suffering again, then we recovered pretty well, and then it was like Ukrainian war going down again. So it's so much up and downs that, you know, we just need to be flexible, we need to adapt to that. But honestly, today we are pretty positive. You know, I think that demand is coming even earlier than we were expecting now. I think we're flying to some destinations even more than in 2019. So we still need to be positive. Maybe there's like some segments or collective like corporates that are still not here 100%. And what we're seeing is that, for example, you guys, those guys from venture capital and startups are flying more than 2019. So we need to say thank you here. So and let's see, because, you know, it's like this question around remote working and this kind of stuff that it could take us like 5 hours, but in my opinion, I think this is going to be back again. You know, remote working is like, I don't know, remote love. It's good for sometimes, but then if you do not see each other, you just like lose the contact, the feeling. You just start thinking on other things, and I think that's extremely important. And this is a good example today, right? That you're putting together like Renfe, Amadeus, I don't know, a great founder and a startup guy, a VC, payments and MasterCard. So I think that is great.
So we have to be really glad about this positive forecast, but also gaining flexibility, because we have to manage this uncertainty and we don't know exactly what is going to happen. Okay, and the second one is just a headline. Well, the main difference for you between travel industry in 2019 and now, what is like the key from each of you? Chiara, please.
So, few data again here. So let me explain you why I think both the combination of travel and payment, I think it's innovation per se, and I've been in the industry like 20 years. So within MasterCard, what we are doing, so definitely interacting not only with members that are financial institution or issuers or if you want acquirer and so on, but with the whole travel ecosystem, travel agency, travel intermediary, travel merchant, like Renfe, like airlines, but also with hotel hospitality and also with third party, like technology, the GDSs and so on, that are enabling the ecosystem. So what we are seeing here is that partnership, technology, and insights are definitely bringing innovation, innovation to life in travel. Specifically when it's needed most, and what we are seeing the past 2 years, that definitely there was a need to collaborate as an industry to bring both B2B and C2B, I would say secure and prepare for the growth that we are seeing this year. Now, the growth or the changes or innovation is driven by something very important, that is customer innovation, so customer demand, being business or being consumer. So it's very important to see the data. So what are the data that we are seeing now? So I said before about the 1.5 billion passengers that will fly this year. The other data that is very positive is that, and we recently published the travel trend, it's about business travel. So we saw business travel finally increasing over 2019. That it's a very, I would say it's a very critical milestone, because everyone was thinking that, look, business travel will go back finally in 2024 and so on. So we already saw that business travel is up, above 2019. Another interesting data is about how the traveler in leisure are flying. So what we are seeing is that, and this is again, how we do see this is by aggregate, our data, our sales network data in aggregated and anonymized view, plus coupled with other proprietary analysis, but also our additional data sources. What we are seeing is that in leisure, people, short and medium haul flights are growing at more or less 25%, 27% over 2019. While long haul flight is still behind, and this is the data from April, 7% than 2019. Now, in long haul flight in April, we're 7% below, but in January, we're 70% below, 75% below. So what is that in 4 months? We see a gap of 70%. So definitely, it is changing. So let's see at the end of the year if we are also with the long haul flights recovering as well. Now, another, and is the last data point, is how consumer or traveler are spending when traveling. And what we are seeing is something very interesting, that people tend to spend more now in experiences rather than in services or goods on things. So they prefer experiences. So 34% more spending on experiences. What kind of experience? Interesting. So 72% is spending more in bars and nightclubs. Maybe it's a consequence after 2 years of people getting out.
You have all the data from us.
30% in restaurant and 30% as well, spending more in destination, if you want, services. So it's amusement park, museum, really experience. So this is very interesting. So people is spending more in these things than in goods or things. Yeah.
Okay, Chiara. That's an interesting point and the perfect link for you, Nicolas, because we were wondering what is Amadeus Discover and how important is the experience in this new scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks for
very good point.
Bridging.
The rehearsal was really good.
So yes, we see the same trends as what you say. People are looking more and more for very unique, off the beaten track experiences, mostly the youngest generations, which are mostly digital. And on the other hand, you have these unique experiences of the beaten track, which are not digital, or the digitalization of these activities is very, very low. And so we have this gap to bridge. So as you said as well, it's a lot about cooperation in the industry. So what we have decided to launch is this platform that helps to promote the very local experiences by leveraging the classical travel channels that we have. So we build this platform, and on this same platform, you have the local activities, you have the hotels, you have the destination marketing organizations, you have the airlines, the airports, and so on, to help the local activities to be promoted to the traveler through the channels that we already use and trust. And so we launched this platform during the COVID. We can see the traction already. We've been selected by the French government to be the official digital platform for the recovery of the leisure tourism in France, called Alentour. We have a couple of DMOs in Spain as well using it, and we are expanding that. And the goal is really so first, of course, you have all the main attractions that are aggregated, because we aggregate the classical aggregators on the platform, so you have all these bases of experiences. But we also provide a very easy-to-use digital tool for anybody to be able to onboard on the platform in 10 minutes and to let all the ecosystem use this basis to promote the activity to the traveler. So it's a lot about traveler centricity, because we've been doing that because we focused first on what the travelers wanted to do. And it's a lot as well about breaking the silos in the industry, because we want to be the platform that will help all the ecosystem to cooperate together.
Okay, thank you. And Marek, as founding partner of Founders Capital and this venture capital, how do you see the startup ecosystem? Because we are in a startup event, and how do you see after pandemic and during pandemic, how is this movement, the feeling that what is happening around?
So in venture capital, of course, pandemics affects you, but because you're looking to in 8 to 10 years ahead, it's not the thing that is a game changer, really. It's okay. It may be a slowdown. And so with this kind of longer term view, what we see is that there are three types of innovation that is happening in travel. The first one, and for me the most surprising, is are the kind of carve out startups that do something that I would never think that innovation is possible there. And so for example, we all use Booking to book our hotel. Oh, it's game over. We use Booking, right? And then someone comes, and we have a company called Stay for Long, and they focus on being a booking for longer stays. And it turns out that the space is so huge, and the value proposition for them, for people who are staying longer in the destination, and that's why they maybe want to have better prices or different type of experience, it's enough to make a company that sells 50 or 100 million of booking per year. So another company like that is Travel Perk, which is a friendly company. We are not invested there, but it's business travel, the most boring part of travel. You know, like it's been unchanged for 20 years, and then someone comes over and redesigns it, and it's a really cool experience. So this is the first type of innovation, which I think is pretty amazing and very visible, because those are brands that face customers. The other one that is not as visible, but it is as important, are all kind of specific tools that startups make to solve specific problems in the kind of value chain of travel. And we have, for example, a company that's called the Hotel Networks. They go side by side with independently owned hotels, and they promote exactly what hotels wish. They want to reduce their dependence on booking. And so they want to increase direct booking, and the Hotels Network give them tool to increase that part. So it's really important for hotels. Another one that is recent and that you don't really see because it's happening behind the scene, but there is a company called Pruvo, for example, and what they do is they rebook your hotel reservation if the price drops down. So you do not need to monitor whether the hotel lowered the prices because they need to. It automatically gets rebooked at a better price for you. Pretty cool. So there are these specific travel tools, and then there are, as Chiara was mentioning, there is a lot of innovation happening, for example, in payment that inevitably goes into, is applicable on travel, because we pay a lot when we travel, right? And very often we pay. And so there are all kinds of restaurant paying applications. There is, we have a portfolio company called Hubuk that is doing really cool partnerships in the travel sector. We have a company called Iristrace that is doing a kind of process management and checkouts, and this is very useful for hotels. You know, when something breaks in the maintenance for the hotel, when someone needs to let you know that the light is not working in the room 101, and someone needs to change it, and then he needs to confirm it, and then the room can be clean, and it's a complex process that IT can help to solve. So there is a lot of it happening, and some of it we see, some of it we don't, but we will all benefit from it as customers.
So the travel industry is back in the game, but the game is changing a lot. Okay, Ignacio, from the airline industry, from the transport sector that we share, how do you see this? You mentioned that lots of ups and downs during this time, but how is being the recovery, and how is Iberia preparing this new scenario, and sustainability goals, innovations, because some other part of the roundtable was about accessibility and about to make this travel and tourism industry accessible for everyone.
So if you think, and we could focus on the customer, so we had like big questions to be resolved, and I can see some of the research team inside Iberia here, so thank you so much for coming. The first question was maybe related to how are we responding to health and safety issues. So do you remember that a year ago we were thinking if sanitary masks were staying forever? So I think I have a clear answer again, and it is not I don't know. It's just so the answer is no major change. So I think we are staying the same to the way that we approach these kind of things. So and we have some clear examples. For example, I can see some faces that were yesterday in South Summit Gunilla party at night, and now you're here, no mask. So I think it's pretty clear that we want to be where we were like a couple of years ago. What we can see also is that digital and sustainability, so being more digital and being greener is the kind of trend that we need to focus. I can see my mother like scanning QR codes everywhere now and speaking through WhatsApp with companies. So I think that wasn't there before. And I think we need to leverage that and to take an advantage. Then, in terms of sustainability, so I think it's one of the most important topics in our agenda as airline, as a travel industry, and as a society in general. We want to link that not just with a kind of carbon footprint or emission stuff. I think that has to start with a kind of purpose for as a company. So doing good, doing well. Generating, our purpose as Iberia, I think we write that down, and we've been there for like 100 years, but we have started thinking about it now. And it's, let me see if I can say it properly in English. So it's from Spain, generate prosperity, connected people with the world. So that is what we do. We connect people, and we want to provide epic experiences there. And meaning that we need to change some of the stuff that has been going on for ages in our industry. I think some of the things are just unacceptable, and the only way to resolve that is collaborating together. So we need to pay seamlessly. We need to collaborate with Amadeus as a partner with our third parties. We need to work with the startups, and that is actually what we are trying to do. If you think on our trip with Iberia, starting with the planning and ending with what you do in destinations, there are some things, you were saying, imagine that you could just get direct information of what is required, COVID documentation to go somewhere, and that you can upload a document, and there's like an intelligence that just give you the okay to travel with that document, and that you can just book your flight and see an immersive experience of our cabin. So you now see the seats that you are going to go to, as you do with hotels. You wouldn't buy a hotel if you don't see the room, right? So that is pretty much the same. You can pay seamlessly, of course, with MasterCard, but also with Bizum, with PayPal, this kind of stuff. You go to an airport and you can go through security and a boarding gate just with your face. So that is a biometric thing. You go into a cabin, and I'm finishing. You go into a cabin, and you have real Wi-Fi. So at last, you can do things. You need to pay to have big bandwidth, but I actually did it. You can do a FaceTime. You can do a video call in Teams inside an aircraft in the middle of the Atlantic. And then you can have free Wi-Fi for messaging, and all of this stuff are actually happening for Iberia. So we were not imagining that 2 years ago, and it's actually live. Our first flight to Washington last week, you could just log in as Iberia Plus and have free messaging and WhatsApp. So you can just watch Netflix with that, but you can talk with my mother, for example. And that is pretty amazing for us. But we are very excited. And let me take the opportunity to say thank you to all the Iberia guys that are here and partners, Amadeus, MasterCard. We are working together in this, and we have learned a lot in these 2 years, and I'm learning from you every day. So thank you so much.
So not only connecting with our destinations, but also with our mothers. So
Exactly.
very cool for you. Okay, and just last question in the same order as we. I think that we all agree that there is a reinvention of the industry after pandemic, and the game is changing, and the speed is faster for moments. But what is the key from this last thought of you? What is the key of this reinvention, and what will be the key? What is the key right now, and what do you see that is going to be the key in the short term?
So what we saw definitely in the payment side, that as a consequence of COVID, I would say contactless payment, as boom, everyone tend to pay more with the mobile device rather than with the physical cards. For, I would say, a health concern, but also, I would say for, it's more agile, if you want, the customer experience. So definitely on that side. What we also saw that is very relevant for travel, that as a consequence eventually of COVID as well, and what we see in the data now is that people tend to book more via travel intermediaries now than before, rather than direct. Because of experience, most probably because of better choice, and also I would say definitely customer experience. And I think one of the other concerns that we saw is the use of, suddenly consumers were paying with different form of payment and so on, and within MasterCard we have also bank-to-bank account, we have also, I would say, blockchain, we have crypto and so on. Now, they realize that when paying with card, there is protection. so that now what we see as well in some countries where other form of payment were generally higher, people tend to book in travel with card. It could be in app, in virtual cards specifically, in travel intermediaries through travel merchant.
Okay, Nicolas, what is the key for you?
For me, the key as an industry is really cooperation, as we said. I mean, I think everybody said that pretty much. I mentioned the example of what we do with Amadeus Discover, helping Iberia or Renfe to promote activities to their travelers. But we also have other platforms, like a platform called Traveler-Centric Platform, which helps the different players in the industry to securely exchange insights on the travelers to better serve each traveler, because we have more insights about this specific traveler. So it's really all about cooperation. The more we can enable cooperation in the industry, the better this industry will grow.
Okay, right. Marek and Ignacio is with right now.
I will be very brief. I think the key for me, the winners will figure out how to harvest innovation from a startup, the big players who will be able to harvest the innovation from startups, because a lot is happening there, and corporations are slow, and the ones who will figure out that they will have the future.
So for me, I think it's like two-speed innovation. So innovation for new models, but also to fix the basics. I think we need to do that, and that is extraordinary for travel. And then, we are in South Summit, so it's about ecosystem and open innovation, and as you said, collaboration.
Definitely.
Okay, a new game, flexibility, cooperation, and innovation. So thank you all for coming here, and thank the audience for
Thank you.
for the
Thank you very much.